So in this lesson we're going to talk about how to play thirds. Thirds are really useful on guitar because they're used in all kinds of music. They're used in classical guitar, blues guitar, rock guitar, jazz guitar, country guitar, a lot. So if you're a guitar player who's doing any kind of soloing or lead playing, you really want to check out how to play thirds. So first let's talk about what thirds are. We'll use the key of C as an example because key of C is very easy to understand. It's got no sharps or flats. So in the key of C, of course, your root is C. So your third, therefore, I just count up C, D, E, right? So C and E is my third. So with thirds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play two notes at the same time. I'm going to play C and E together. Okay? So that's what sounds like this. I can play them separate, like that, or I can play them together. Okay. So now, what we're going to do with this kind of thirds lick is we're going to walk up the scale just using 3 steps of the scale, starting from the root C, and then we're going to go to D. But when I play D, I'm going to play the third of D along with it. So it'll sound like that, but in order to calculate that so you understand what's going on, I'm starting on D and I'm just counting the same way. I'm just going D, E, F, right? So now I'm playing D and F at the same time. It sounds like that. And then the third step is going to be E and G. Again, it's just E, F, G, right? So E and G. Okay, so it sounds like a really good sound. Now, we'll talk about how to find this lick so that you can play it whenever you need it. And I'm going to give you 2 ways of finding this lick. One is a little more difficult. The second way is easier for most students, but we'll do both so that you can understand how it works. And I find that some people have preferences for how to find their different licks. So first off, the harder way, but probably the cool way, is to find your root on the G string. So in this case, we're playing this lick as a C major lick. So I'm going to find C on my G string, my 3rd string, which is 5th fret, right? Now I'm going to play the E along with it. The E is the 3rd of C, and the nice thing about the guitar is that the B string allows me to do that very easily. I've got them both right there, 5th fret. So all I do is just hold those 2 guys down, right? Okay, so now that's my C and my E. Now my D and my F, my next step, are going to look different. But the nice thing is all I have to do is put these 2 fingers down. There's my first step. There's my D and my F. My 3rd step, my last step, is E and G. And that's easy. I just move that same shape up. So that's my first shape, my 2nd shape, my 3rd shape. And you can go backwards. So I found that just by finding C on my G string, and then after that, you just have the shapes memorized, you just play them. You don't have to think about this being D and F and this being E and G. After that, once you find your starting point, you just play the shape, right? Okay, now, for the easier way to find this lick, I find that most of my students are not as quick at knowing the notes on, for example, the G string, but they're pretty quick at knowing the notes on the low E and the low A string. So what I often do is I'll teach them how to use a note on the low strings as a landmark for finding a lick, even when you're not even playing those low strings. So here's a great example. I'm going to play this C major bar chord. Okay, so some people play it with the 3 fingers there, some people play it with 2 bars, whatever, same thing. This is a C major bar chord because this note right here is C, right? Just like my cowboy C chord, whatever you call it. That's a C major. Now notice that right inside here is the beginning of my 3rd lick. So all I need to do is think of my C major bar chord, and there's my lick. Right there. Probably easier for most students to find. So let's test that theory. Let's say we're going to play this lick as on an F chord. So the song is maybe changing to the F chord, and you want to play this lick over top of that chord. What you're going to do is you're going to find your F major bar chord. Or, put it another way, you're going to find an F note on the A string. We know that's the 8th fret, right? So we can play, first we can actually play the F bar chord if we like, or we can just visualize it. We don't actually need to play the chord in the solo, but you can. And then you know that the third lick starts right here, right? So that's the lick as an F. We'll go back to the C. So now, on your own, see if you can figure out how to play the lick as a G chord. So again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to find a G on the A string. G on the A string is 10th fret, right? There's your bar chord. So therefore, your lick is right there. Right? You can go back to the F chord. Back to the C chord. Okay. So now we know how to find the third lick. Let's figure out a couple ways to use this. One of the common variations of this lick is to add an extra half step in the middle. This is used a lot in blues music. So if we add that extra half step, it exists after the second step. So there's the first step, there's the second step, here's the extra. Sounds weird until you resolve it, right? If you put it in context. So let's try that for F. F, again, there's my F bar chord. I'm going to go, that's with the extra half step, right? Etc., right? G, F, C. Okay. Now finally, the way that I like to use this in a solo is I like to, well, you can use it just as a lick of itself, of its own, but I like to use it as an ending to another lick or an ending to a longer line. So let's make an example of that. Let's say I'm going to stay in the key of C here, and I'm going to play a C major scale. So C major scale from the 8th fret with my pinky. Just make a simple bluesy line, and all I do is add the thirds to the end of it. It makes this very simple scale-wise lick sound pretty clever now, right? But you can add it to any end of any line. Now the key is that if you do this lick, you want to do it when the song is on that particular chord. So for example, if the song then went to an F chord, your C lick won't sound as cool on over the F chord. Maybe okay. Sometimes you fluke out, but we probably want to play the F lick. That sounds about right. Song goes back to a C chord. Now you want your C lick. Song goes to a G chord. Right? So practice with some jam tracks, practice playing some lines. So yeah, there you go. That's thirds. You can practice that just on your own to make sure that you can find them pretty quick, because when you're in the middle of the song, you want to be able to know exactly where it is. But remember, your landmark, that's how you find it, right?